I'm Ricky.
I'm Kevin. I'm Abraham.
And I'm Ashley.
Today we're going to talk to you in depth about the programming language known as Ruby.
It's very cool.
It's a programmer's best friend.
Although daunting at first glance, Ruby's code can easily be cracked with our help.
So pay close attention.
In 1995, a young 30-year-old Yukihiro Matsumoto released a new pure object-oriented programming language. The language was called Ruby, and it became what Matsumoto would be known for.
But why did Matsumoto create Ruby?
Matsumoto created Ruby because he wanted a language that was internally complex, but also fun and simple to use.
That's really cool.
Ruby is a pure object-oriented language, which means that it focuses on the data being manipulated, which are called objects, rather than the logic needed for manipulation itself, called methods. It's primarily used in web application development, and is commonly used with Rails, a web application development framework. Companies that have used Ruby on Rails include Twitter, Kickstarter, and Airbnb.
Twitter? Airbnb? That's pretty neat. How can I get started with Ruby?
There are different ways to install and use Ruby depending on which operating system you use. There's 2 parts to install before you can start programming. On Windows, you need to download Ruby Installer, Ruby 2.2, which is the most current version that's fully operational. Once installed, interactive Ruby will be on the Start menu. Once the language has been downloaded, you need an integrated development environment, or IDE. Think about idle for Python. And now Kevin's going to show you some syntax.
Okay, so variables. They're basically the same as in Python. Here we have the decision statements. The if statements and the conditions are basically the same. The else if is the same, except it is spelled differently. The else is also the same, but we need an end at the very end of the decision statement to show that we're done. We have a while loop here. The while loop is while the condition inside is true, do the code in the block, and then we put an end. The for loop is pretty much the same, where we have for the iteration in the expression, or of the range, do the code block, and we end. Next we have puts. Puts is the print statement in Ruby. Print is different in Ruby as it prints a line but does not add a new line at the end of the code. So now we have data types. The Boolean variable is the same as it's true or false. The string is still the letters and numbers included within the quotes. Numbers are also the same as ints and floats still exist. We have symbols, which are actually different from in Python because symbols are unique. There can't be 2 of the same type. And next we have arrays, which are basically lists in Python, but they must be the same data type. And next we have hashes, which are basically dictionaries.
I'm sure you're wondering, how can I get started with Ruby? Well, here's a great website to get you started called Coding Academy. You can type right in the browser and it's extremely interactive. Our next resource to help you on your way is a YouTuber by the name of Jake Day Williams. It's great if you're better at learning when people explain slowly, and you can start and stop as many times as you like. Our third resource is an online graphic novel by the name of Poignant.guide. It is a witty and fun way to introduce you to the peculiar and fun aspects of Ruby. Our fourth website is called the Odin Project. It is basically a series of lessons to help you. It shows you step by step how to create various applications and programs.
What's the most helpful website?
Thank you for asking. TryRuby.org is also interactive online, but it's got fun animations and a very pleasing interface. Truly, it is the best one. But maybe you're like me and the internet scares you. If so, here's Lee with some helpful books.
Thanks, Ricky. Today I'll be talking to you about some great books you can check out while you're learning Ruby.
The first book I recommend is Ruby Wizardry by Eric Weinstein, and this book introduces the Ruby language as an action-packed journey in a fantasy land. It's very entertaining. The second book I would recommend is called The Ruby Programming Language by David Flanagan and Yukihiro Matsumoto. This book is written by the makers of Ruby, and it not only tells you what Ruby does, but how and why Ruby does it. The third book I recommend is Ruby, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide by Andrew Johansson, and this is essentially a crash course over Ruby, and the chapters are filtered for the necessities of coding in Ruby. The last book I recommend is called Learn Ruby, The Beginner's Guide by Jake Day Williams, and it's an easy read and it offers a succinct overview of Ruby's basic syntax.
Hey fellas, thanks for tuning in and learning Ruby with us.
Join us next time when we observe a baby dingo.
It's a real dingy.
That was-